I would like to start with Easy Item Finder, because with Easy Item Finder we have made it way more easier to find items based on categories. So for example, if you're trading furniture, your item list is more or less a catalog of tables and chairs and whatsoever, and you would have different categories, even subcategories. And we have made it easier to find items while you're filtering on different categories. And we have made that available not only on the item card, but also on, for example, sales documents. If you need to fill in items on the list, we've made it easier by selecting categories first and then find the items you need quickly. And of course, I'm going to show that live in a minute. What does that mean? The other feature is document management system. People would love to to store documents in Business Central. For example, agreements or volume discount contracts or whatsoever, on all kinds of records within Business Central. So either on customers or on vendors or on items you want to store additional documents or pictures or drawings or whatsoever. That's something we've made available with document management system. So with document management system, we've basically created a lightweight DMS system within Business Central, where you can store the documents in the fact box. You can create template folder structures, which then apply to all of the records. So for example, if you create a folder structure for customers, then that can apply for all customers. You can of course then drag and drop the items into the fact box, and then they will be stored in the folder structure. And you can also work with automatic creation of subfolders based on year and month. So for example, that every month a new subfolder will be created automatically. And since a last update, we now also support Azure storage. So instead of only supporting the Business Central database, so that the documents were actually stored within the Azure, within the Business Central database, we now have support for Azure storage as well, including a migration option. So if you already have started with DMS in Business Central database and you want to switch to Azure storage, we have created a migration tool where you can easily basically lift and shift all the documents from the Business Central database to Azure storage. And I will show that in a minute as well, because I want to go to my Business Central environment, and therefore I need to switch to sharing my screen. And here we are in Business Central. It's an empowered version of Business Central, and the starting point is always the module configuration, where you can enable or disable all the features which are included in the bundle. And as you can see over here, we have document management system enabled and Easy Item Finder disabled, because I want to show first how it is to work with items without Easy Item Finder. So let's start with the Easy Item Finder. And therefore, let me go to the item card first. So let's go to items, and then, for example, pick the Paris chair black. And within Business Central, you can work with item category codes. But on the item card, you then will find only the most specific item category code. And of course, if I look at the details of this item category code, which is chairs, and I click on show details, you will see that the code of the item category is chairs and the parent category is furniture. Then let me switch to a sales quote as an example. And of course, we are all familiar with it, how that works on the sales quote to find the items. Because normally, if you're in a sales quote and you need to search for the specific item, you can either search in the number column or in the description column or on select items, which is just a standard feature of Business Central. But then you're always presented with the whole list of all items where you need to search for your specific item. Now let me switch to the empowered module configuration and enable Easy Item Finder to show you the difference, because this doesn't require any additional setup. And I simply enable Easy Item Finder. And now I want to show you the differences. So if I go to the item card once again, so let me go to the Paris chair black once again. And now you see that on the item card, all those categories are presented straight away from how you have created your categories of the items. So the parent category was furniture, category level 1 is chairs, and yes, we also support up to 3 additional category levels. By the way, we got some feedback from partners who said, okay, our end customers are loving this feature, but probably they want to use more category levels. So we are thinking about expanding the number of category levels you can use. So back to what does Easy Item Finder do? On the item card, it gives you a clear overview at a glance of the different category levels a specific item is in. And now, of course, where the majority of the benefit is of this specific features, if you go to a sales quote, let me go to that same sales quote once again, and let me say we are going to enter the Paris chair black once again. Now you see that with simply enable the Easy Item Finder, you have these additional columns. So basically you can easily filter down the categories, and based on that, if you then go to, for example, the number field to select the item, based on the categories, you're only presented with those items. So it's really convenient to quickly go to your item categories and find that specific item, which of course reduce the time of the salespeople to enter these specific items on the sales documents. So that's basically Easy Item Finder. A very lightweight feature, easy to enable, and you can immediately take advantage of these additional columns, which makes the process a little bit more smoother. Now let me go to document management system. Let me start from the customer record. So if we go to customers, because document management system is already enabled in this particular environment. And if I go to, for example, I'm here at a Datum Corporation, and you see immediately in the fact box on the right hand side, you see Empower DMS. And here we have created a template folder structure. If I switch, for example, to another customer, you see that the template folder structure stays the same. And so it's customer information with the subfolder agreements. And you see that for the customer Datum Corporation, we have a file in the agreements. So let's imagine this is a volume discount contract. Of course, it's ideal to have that stored on the customer records. So all information related to that customer can be found on the customer record. But once again, let's imagine this is a volume discount contract. Of course, it would be nice to have that on hand while creating sales quotes for this particular customer. So please remember, we have this specific file, binocular file. Let's imagine this is a volume discount contract, and it's stored in the agreement subfolder in the customer information folder. Now, if we go to sales quotes, let me go back to the role center. And let's go to a sales quote for that specific customer, a Datum Corporation, just a random one. Here you see that same file. So let's imagine the volume discount contract in the fact box available on the sales quotes. So it's of course stored in the on the customer record, but it's also visible on the sales quote in a different folder. It's called the discount policy, and if you look very sharp at the icon, you see that this is a specific icon, which means this is a virtual folder. So this is basically a visualization of a part of the folders which are actually stored at the customer record. How have we made that possible? Therefore, let me go to the DMS folder list. Simply search for it. If I go to the DMS folder list, and once it's loaded, the connection will help. Yes. Here you see that for all these types, we are supporting empowered DMS. So basically for all records with regards to documents, and of course some master data like customers, vendors, items, etc. There we have created the option to create folders. We are now at the customer record, and here you see the same folder structure as you saw in the fact box. So customer information with agreements as a subfolder. This is just a manual folder, and also you can see how many files are in there, etc. Now if we go to sales quotes, because that was the thing I showed you as well. If we go to sales quote, here you see that specific folder we saw on the sales quote, discount policy, but now from a folder type virtual, and it's related to the virtual folder source type customer, so to the customer records, and then more specifically the agreement subfolder on the customer record. So basically, discount policy is a virtual folder and also reflecting the same items which are stored at the customer record. That's basically very straightforward how you can create your template folder structures and make use of them within Business Central. And then the new thing since the newest update, if we go to the DMS setup, normally you would not have any options here and only Business Central database storage. But since the last update, we now also support Azure Blob Storage. And if you go for Azure Blob Storage, of course, you need to fill in the storage account name. That's something you need to create in Azure Storage or in Azure, and you need to fill in here the storage account key. That's something you manage in Azure as well. And as soon as you've created that key in Azure, you can simply paste it here. And let's imagine you've started this the use of DMS in Empowered Business Central already with Business Central database storage as the location. If you now would change it to Azure Blob Storage and move the documents, it will basically migrate all the documents to the Azure storage as well. So really convenient to switch the default storage location. That's basically a document management system. So once again, very lightweight, easy to use a document management system in the fact box in Business Central, where you can drop the files in. Now let me go back to my presentation. So once again, share the presentation. So I showed you easy item finder, simply enable it and you are presented with additional columns to find items easier by filtering on the categories first, and the document management system, which is pretty straightforward folder structure support in the fact box of Business Central, either with an actual storage in Business Central database or in Azure Blob Storage. And it's also good to know that based on feedback, we are also going to support SharePoint. Well, we thought that with the support of Azure storage, we are future-proof, so to say. We still see that a lot of end customers would love to make use of Empower DMS, but then still with the connection to SharePoint. So we are going to add that as well in the future.